Midlife can feel like you are in a pressure cooker. You've probably got teenagers or adult kids that suddenly have adult problems, much, much harder, right? Than when they were little children. You might have aging parents who are now starting to need much more of your assistance. Your body might be changing. You might feel much more tired than you ever have before. Maybe your full time career is winding down and you're wondering, what's next for me? And often, when all those stresses pile on, you might start to let yourself think about what could have been. If only I had, you fill in the blank. Welcome, everyone. I'm Sharri Harmel. I am your host for the Extraordinary Woman podcast show, which is the show for women 50 plus who want to design and live a long and fantastic next chapter. Yes, lots and lots of pressures all come at us kind of at the same time when we're in midlife or beyond. We can't get rid of those pressures because most of them come with the people we love, right? But what we will do today is talk about ways to help yourself from, falling down or becoming overwhelmed with those pressures and not moving forward, not doing what you want to do with this next chapter of your life. So my first suggestion is to stay focused on the present. Easier said than done, right? It is so easy, especially at midlife and beyond, to reflect back on our lives and think, if only I had made different choices. If only I had done X, my life would have been so much better. If I had married that person instead of the one I did, if I hadn't worked, or if I had worked, my kids would have turned out so differently. If I hadn't let my body get so out of shape and maybe even frumpy. If I had been a better parent, I had given my child more responsibility at a younger age, maybe they'd be, better at emancipating. Maybe if I had been more focused on my own career and my own path as a young woman, things would have turned out differently. If I hadn't always shared my opinions, given my advice, maybe some of my relationships would have been different. As you can tell, I have spent a good amount of time in this if only land, I call it. So how to pull yourself back into the present is what we're going to talk about today. Number one, dive into a creative pursuit. Now, that means different things to different people. It might be something truly artistic. It might be that you're a painter or you want to take painting classes, or you're a beautiful sewer and you've decided to make drapes for your home, or, learn how to embroider, or, you're, like I said, you're a painter and you're taking painting classes or sculpting classes. Those are true artistic pursuits. But creative pursuits can also be something as simple as redecorating a room in your home. I love doing this. Suppose, that's your creative pursuit. You will be in that place of, what color do I want to paint my room? Maybe I want to create a different purpose for the room. Maybe it was a bedroom that is never used anymore, and I'm going to make it my creative room, so to speak. Maybe you're just going to rearrange furniture and find different ways to, use a particular room. That is all creativity. It requires your brain to think about, oh gosh, what if, what could I do? How could this be configured differently? One of my favorite creative pursuits is closet reorganization. And I know that sounds really crazy, but it does qualify as a creative pursuit because you're sitting there thinking about, how can I rearrange my closet to make better use of the space that I have? What are the particular baskets or buckets or containers that I could bring in so that I could access my clothing better? And then I want you to stay in the closet, so to speak, and come up with my next favorite creative pursuit, which is to create new outfits out of clothing that I already have. Now, we all, have most Americans, anyways, have closets that are stuffed full of things that we don't pull out very often, things that might not fit, things that we just don't really even care for. And we get pulled into all of the online ads for this outfit or that outfit. And you can see they've got these great accessories and they know how to put certain things together that just look fantastic. Well, what if you did that with your closet? Pull everything out of your closet, get rid of the things that don't fit or the things that never looked good on you, and put those in the giveaway or the consignment shop pile, and then work with what pieces of clothing you absolutely love and see how you can mix and match them. Pull out those accessories because truly adding a scarf or a necklace can make a whole difference with a particular outfit. The shirt has got to be, I don't know, 8 years old. Purchased it in Paris. Here's a necklace that I pulled out because I thought, how fun. This is going to up level my shirt. I've had this necklace for probably 8 years. It sits in a little container in my closet, and I realize that I want to change this. I want to pull out things and figure out new ways of wearing new outfits, to put together. Just because, the styles change and the trends change and whatnot doesn't mean that you can't up level your wardrobe so that you feel chic and on trend and very pretty by using what you already have. That, though, takes creativity. And that's why I call this a creative pursuit. Nothing like, feeling chic, pretty, and even savvy, because I'm going to say savvy in the context of you saving money. Everything has gotten more expensive out there. All of us are tightening our belts a little bit, and clothing prices have gone up. And isn't it a perfect time to say, I'm going to get creative and figure out how to do something different with the things I already have? No matter which of these creative pursuits you choose, though, what feels right to you. Actually, every single one of them brings you into the present. And that's the point of this particular suggestion. The past, what could have been, who you might have married, how you might have lived, a different career path. Those are all stuffed away back where they should be when you're engaged in an activity that is in the present, putting together outfits that you're going to wear today, tomorrow, next week, next month. That's taking you into the present. The past, thinking about the past, is actually a very sedentary activity, right? Zero action. All that's going on is you're thinking about what could have been in your head. Whereas creative pursuits, like we just talked about, whether it's an artistic pursuit or it's something as simple as, redecorating a room or reorganizing a closet or coming up with different outfits, are all about taking action. And when we take action, at least we're in the here and the now, which is pretty cool. So another idea, though, to sweep away those midlife regrets is to make a 1-year vision board. Now, I've done vision boards over the years, and it was only recently, probably a few months ago, that I was introduced to Colette Baron-Reid's whole vision board process. It's entirely different. I think it's fantastic. And I did a whole podcast episode on it because it's part of the book that I'm writing. And so the link to that particular podcast is down in the show notes. Listen to that episode if making a vision board interests you. But in a nutshell, the vision board change or difference is that the vision board needs to be about the feelings that you want to feel in whatever area of your life you want to focus on for the next year. whether it's relationships, whether it's home, career, lifestyle, you name it. Focus in on the feelings you want to have in each category and then find photos that actually match your desired feeling. Now, you also want to make sure that you connect with your vision board every single day. It's your future. Vision boards are about future. And it's not just a glance over there. Oh my gosh, look at all those big photos that are on my vision board. It's something deeper. I want you to walk into those categories, whatever you might have one category, you might have four. Walk into those categories and let yourself imagine living that life, feeling the feelings that you want to feel. And I promise you that when you do that, you will actually feel your body relax. You will let go of some of those regrets that you might have or the challenges that you're facing in your life when you step into those feelings that you want to feel. I often get the question of where to start. What categories do I put on my vision board? That was a common coaching question when I was working with individual clients. And as a result, I created something called the Next Chapter card deck. It's available as a link within my new book, which will be coming out in the fall, called Designing Your Fabulous Next Chapter. But it is also available if you sign up, but I'm sharing with you, sign up for the VIP waitlist for the book. It's actually one of the gifts that you'll get prior to the actual publication of the book. So, I encourage all of you to sign up for that VIP waitlist and get that Next Chapter card deck, because what the card deck does is it helps you to rank your priorities for the coming year. There's a whole process that comes with the actual deck of narrowing down what are your categories. And one of the suggestions that Colette Baron Reid makes is that at most on your vision board, you need 4 categories. And so the Next Chapter card sort or card deck actually gets you to the point where you have your top 4 categories for the next year. So go ahead and sign up. Again, the link is down in the show notes. Another suggestion, besides vision boarding, that I have for leaving those midlife regrets behind is to read books. Sounds crazy simple, right? I have found that reading books helps me to put my own life challenges in perspective, and it helps me to realize that I'm not the only one who has ever struggled. It is so easy when we have challenges in our life to think that we're the only person who's going through those challenges, that you're the only person that's struggling, and B, that the challenge is even bigger than it really is. And what reading does is actually allows you to step into the lives of other people and therefore, gain a little perspective on how does your challenge compare to other people's challenges, and also that we're not alone. It was interesting when I started to kind of explore the benefits of reading, and there was one study that actually claims that older adults who read have a 20% lower mortality rate than those who do not read. And I thought, that doesn't make any sense, really? There was a study that actually determined this. So I was kind of questioning whether or not that had any factual basis to it. And then the other day, I was watching a YouTube video actually on Queen Camilla, Queen Camilla is a queen married to King Charles of the UK, as an example. And she is an avid literacy supporter. She actually has an Instagram page that is like a book club. And they have particular books that they recommend. And they go through and read together and all of that. But Queen Camilla, in this particular YouTube video, talked about how important reading is to her and why it's important to her, which there are now, according to this particular YouTube video that was talking about mental health studies in the United Kingdom, was talking about how reading actually helps our mental health, regardless of our age. And so suddenly that 20% lower mortality for older adults who read had some teeth, had some meat in it. And I think when we look at it from that perspective, reading is not just a form of entertainment, it actually might be good for our mental health. It certainly helps us to step away from our midlife regrets and step into the lives and the challenges of others. Now, if you're not a reader, basically there are what you're doing is stepping into the lives of others through reading. But if that's not your thing, you're not a reader or you don't enjoy reading, another really great suggestion I think would be to watch. I think it's called Finding Your Roots. It's put out by Henry Louis Gates Jr., who's a Harvard professor. And Dr. Gates always has like at least two guests, and they do this whole ancestry search as to who their relatives are. But what is so important, and that's something you never get from, say, having an ancestry.com page or whatever, is you get the stories that are connected to those people. I love that program. And one of the reasons I love that program is it's sort of like reading historical fiction. You're stepping into the lives of people that preceded whoever the star is that's being interviewed by Dr. Gates, but you're learning about different parts of the world and what life was like at various times throughout history. And again, that's a form of perspective. It's a form of historical context, which helps all of us to realize that whatever our struggles are, whatever our challenges are, we are not the first to have a similar challenge, and it's not the worst challenge in the world, and this too shall pass. So I highly recommend Dr. Gates's Finding Your Roots. It's really fun. You can get it on YouTube or PBS. Historical fiction, though, if you're a reader, historical fiction is fantastic. It's one of my favorite genres. A good story actually takes, a person's life, but also puts it into a historical context. Just last night, I finished a phenomenal book. And I said to myself, I put the book down, it was done. And I said, wow, Sharri, you need to stop worrying about your life. So great lesson. My next suggestion as to how to get past those midlife regrets is to journal. And we all know about journaling, but this is a special suggestion because I want you to journal in a certain way. I want you to argue with yourself inside your journal. How many times do we find ourselves unable to sleep because some idea or some opinion is rolling through our minds that we are convinced, we are absolutely sure that it is the truth? We suddenly think we know what everyone is thinking and we can predict the future. That's what's going on in the middle of the night. And it's no wonder that we're tossing and turning. Yet, if we ask ourselves that very poignant question that Byron Katie brought up, oh my gosh, years and years ago, the question is, what do we really know is true? Most likely, none of what we were worrying about do we actually know is true. It might not even happen. For example, my apartment, as you all know, I've talked about this, is on the market. The apartment's fantastic. It just needs a total renovation, and I'm not up for a renovation due to other life situations that have occurred. But the apartment isn't selling. And just last night, I got it in my head. This is what goes on in the middle of the night. I think some of you can relate. I got it in my head that it's never going to sell, and that all my things that have been in storage now for, oh my God, I don't even want to count the months. My paintings, my books, my mementos, my antiques, all of those things that are in storage are going to be destroyed because they've sat in storage for so long. Now, couldn't sleep, so I got up. I started to journal, and I realized that all that worry, all those thoughts were just a made up story in my head. But it was a story that was so big that it was keeping me awake. And when I asked myself the question, what do you know, Sharri, is truly true? That big, grand, awful story was out the window. It was a worry, yes, but it was not the truth. Writing it down, and that's why I suggest the journaling. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know why this happens, but writing it down and working it out where you actually argue with yourself in your journal and you debunk some of those worries actually takes all of those kind of stressful ideas or stressful thoughts that are keeping you awake out of your head and somewhere else. It's weird, but it works. So the next time that you can't sleep, get up and write down everything that you've got that you're, scrolling through your head over and over and over and causing you to toss and turn and argue with yourself. Ask the question, do I absolutely know that what I'm worrying about is the truth? That nightmare that is worrying you, those nighttime worries, I should say, will start to settle down. And consequently, it will help you to relax and to sleep. My last idea for a great way to sweep away your midlife regrets and get back into the present is to come up with one new healthy habit this week. Healthy habits are like a refocusing brain game. By adding a positive habit, and I have to clarify that habit needs to be easy, it needs to be simple, it needs to be fun. And by doing that, by embracing one new healthy, fun habit, you're also bringing back hope into your life. Midlife regrets are truly hope busters, whereas bringing in a healthy new habit is just the opposite. Make sure, though, that the habits are simple, because if you make it some big, huge change, it is just going to add stress in your life. So choose something that's really simple, something that's fun, something you're really curious about, you want to try. For example, I'm going to give you what my new habit, as soon as it arrives. I recently reread Dan Buettner's book titled Blue Zones. Now, he did a follow-up video, which I think you can access on YouTube, which is actually very, very interesting. He went back to revisit all of the places in his original book, Blue Zones. And Blue Zones, for those of you who don't know, are the areas of the world where people who live there have this incredible longevity. Places like, I think Costa Rica is one of them, Sardinia, Italy is another, Loma Linda, California is another. And Dan traveled to those places. And in that book, Blue Zones, he really writes about the habits of the people who live there. So we're talking about healthy and simple habits, right? One of the places that Dan visited and wrote about is Okinawa, Japan, where green tea is a daily drink. Now, I'm an espresso drinker, and in the afternoon, usually about 3:30, 4 o'clock, I have my last double espresso. But I decided that I was going to play with this green tea idea. Now, my crazy father, who was stationed in Japan post the Korean War, got very into green tea at that time. And when he had probably about 50 years old, he started this green tea tradition where he actually had a certain pot and he made green tea every afternoon around 4 o'clock. And it was kind of like his ritual, if you want to call it that. Now, my father lived to be almost 90, which actually was double what either of his parents had lived. His parents died when they're very early 50s, and my father made it to almost 90. I don't know if that was solely based on the green tea, but I'm going to give it a try. Now, I don't necessarily love green tea. I would sit with my father sometimes and be a part of that ritual, but I thought I'm going to try something different because I don't really like the taste of green tea. So what I'm trying is matcha, and I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's matcha is basically powdered green tea. So I ordered like the best quality of matcha I could, and I'm going to drink matchas in the afternoon along with frothed oat or almond milk. I'm not a dairy partaker. So consequently, I'm going to use oat or almond milk and put in the matcha. You can also add, if this is something that interests you, you can add a little bit of honey or maple syrup if you want to sweeten it up a little bit. But that is going to be my new simple habit. And I like it because it makes me feel like I'm taking baby steps towards, good health, continued health as I age. That's what's important. So pick something easy, something fun, something that makes you feel excited about what it is contributing to your life. It might be meditation. They say 10 minutes a day seems to make a difference. Meditation isn't my thing, but it might be yours. It might be taking a walk. It might be strength training. It might be stretching. Just make sure that it's easy. It's something you enjoy, and it's not something that is going to take a huge lifestyle change. You do not want to create challenges for yourself. You don't need any more. You just want to make it fun. Those, ladies, are my top 4 suggestions for sweeping out those midlife regrets so that you can keep moving forward towards creating that next chapter that you absolutely cannot wait to live. I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you enjoyed this video, please give the thumbs up. It's super important, whether it's on an audio platform or it's over on YouTube. And do subscribe. I just would love to hear from you. Nothing makes me more excited than when I see you have a new subscriber on YouTube. It's fantastic. And if you're ready to get started on designing your own fabulous next chapter, like I said, sign up for the VIP waitlist for my book that will be coming out in the fall. And in the meantime, you will get the special gift of getting that next chapter card deck that will help you to create your vision board. That's one of the gifts that I give you as a result of you signing up for the VIP waitlist. So do so. Can't wait. Anyways, take care, everyone. I shall see you soon. And as we say in Paris, a bientôt.